gentlemen, please be seated. And his aunt and uncle, Mr. and Mrs. Sam Watkins. I know it means a great deal to Sergeant Lee for each of you to be here today. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2nd Operations Group Commander, Colonel Wyborski.
Mr. and Mrs. Lee, Mr. and Mrs. Watkins, Ms. Holderman, Sue, Jeff, Kevin and Tricia, friends, family, colleagues, it's great to see you here today. Appreciate the fine turnout. This is a day that we get to honor one of our brothers in arms, Master Sergeant Mike Lee, upon completion of 21 years of service for our United States Air Force. But before we do that, I have a couple of announcements to make. You can see over to my left this fine-looking gentleman over here, Master Sergeant Wayne Penrod. Now, I'll tell you, when I go to get my hair cut, there's several folks that work in our operations group. One of them is named Lieutenant Colonel Norm Balchunas, and he's kind of a real poster boy kind of guy. He's handsome, short hair, looks like a Marine. And then there's somebody named Lieutenant Colonel Dave Patterson that some of you know. And not exactly that kind of poster, unless it depends on where you buy your posters, I guess. But there's Dave Patterson, and then there's Sergeant Penrod. Well, when I go to the barber, I ask Owen, and typically I say, give me a Balchunas. And he starts, and well, sometimes Larry tends to go a little too far, and when Larry goes a little too far, I say, okay, Patterson. And if he goes beyond Patterson, all right, Penrod. Now, Wayne's been perplexed here over the past few months. Something odd has been happening to Wayne. Periodically, Wayne has been receiving little love notes from a secret admirer. Wayne can't figure out where these notes come from, can you, Wayne?
No, sir.
It's odd. It's a puzzle. In fact, it could be even a conundrum, if you will. You can look that one up later. Paradox. That's another one. Well, Wayne, I'm here to announce the source of all that affection is none other than Master Sergeant Mike Lee. Now, Wayne is also an avid golfer. And for those of you who know, I mean, is he a scratch golfer or close? What's your handicap, Wayne?
I'm a 5, sir.
He's a 5 handicap, okay? It's a guy who could seriously put a dent in your pocketbook if you don't watch out. Wayne likes to golf, and you know, well, Mike, we work Mike way too hard for him to really get any golf time in, and so he doesn't get much opportunity. But I think he occasionally enjoys going out on the course just for the the fresh air and the smell of grass in his nostrils in the morning. Healthy experience. And well, Wayne had a team, and Mike had a team, and they played recently. And Wayne, who won?
That would have been Master Sergeant Lee.
Ah.
However, I did have to give him some strokes.
Oh, okay. There's always that however caveat. Well, Sergeant Lee has had a very distinguished career, serving the last 21 years in the Air Force. I note, though, that 12 of those years were spent right here. He got married here, right here at Barksdale. 5 of those years were spent at Edwards Air Force Base, California, out in the Mojave Desert. And 3 of those years were spent at Langley Air Force Base, Virginia. Now, I'm guessing you probably don't own a parka. And you probably may not even know what mucklucks are. So, for all, that alone, he deserves note and merit. But he's had a great career. He's been an aircraft maintainer the whole time. He started out here at Barksdale, working in bombing and navigation systems in the 2nd Avionics Maintenance Squadron. Did a fantastic job. You ought to see some of the great things that his supervisor said about him. In fact, he did such a good job that when the B-2 bomber, our newest bomber, came online, they handpicked Sergeant Lee to go work on it, working on the onboard test systems out there at Edwards. And I hope that thing works better than the SITs and the B-1. Good. Good. And it's because of the efforts of folks like Sergeant Lee. And he spent 5 years working on the B-2 program, which, again, very, very select group of individuals. So you can be very proud that he was picked for that particular assignment. Following that, he went up to Langley in Virginia to work at Headquarters Air Combat Command, where he was Assistant Program Manager for something called the Logistics Composite Model. This is, for those of us in the maintenance and logistics business, the #1 driver of our manning. This determines how many slots we get to do which jobs. And so it's critical for us to have those numbers right. And in the course of that position, he managed over 2,000 B-52 positions, as well as lending support to both the B-1 and the B-2. So we kind of have a national treasure of bomber expertise sitting right here that we are losing to the civilian world. After that tour, Mike came here, back to Barksdale, the old stomping grounds, went into the red team. Oh, nobody from that team in here, huh? Oh yeah, a couple, all right, okay, sorry. I figured you guys would tell me real quickly where you were. But he went over to the red team, where he had what I consider to be sort of the culminating position in anybody's career. He had the opportunity to exercise formal leadership, where he was a superintendent of the specialist section over there in the squadron, where he led a group of 95 specialists, and they got, as in this squadron, we got great maintainers here, the 11th and the 96th, and it's because of people like Master Sergeant Lee, growing the young airmen, training them right, teaching them the right way and the right things to do on the airplane. About a year ago, I got this notion of starting up kind of a think tank within the operations group when I first got it. We call it the Skunk Works. And we were looking for talent. Now, he's an avionics guy. If you ask these maintainers, kind of the brainiacs of the maintenance world are your avionics folks. They're known for being more cerebral than the others. I think they even communicate using ESP. In fact, are you an avionics guy too?
I am, sir.
See, they're talking right now. and I don't think you want to know what they're saying. But they're decidedly more intellectual than the rest. So, anyways, Lieutenant Colonel Tim Leetrop, the then squadron commander, came to me and said, "You got to hire this guy, Mike Lee, for your Skunk Works." And so we did, and we hired Mike, and we hired Senior Master Sergeant Vicki Gamble, and they have done a great job over there. Every imaginable kind of science project having to do with maintenance and data analysis, or ops things, or projects like this, they put it together. They're a team after my own heart. I love people like that. There's no project too hard, there's no project too impossible that, quite frankly, my staff, my immediate staff, cannot do. They never fail to amaze me. I'll sit there and have some random thought or musing, or say, I need it now, or I need it yesterday, and they do it. And it's because of people like Sergeant Lee. And that's the kind of career he's had in the U.S. Air Force. And I'll tell you, you can be very proud of him. I'm sure he's very proud of all of you, his family. I know, one final note, that's a big sacrifice, that you gave us your son for the country, and he's given the country plenty in return, so you be proud. Your husband has probably been gone a little bit. You'll get him more than maybe you want. Did I say that out loud? But you'll have more at home, I'm sure, unless the new job is a big travel job. We'll get to see more of Mike, and you can make up for some of the lost time. And since you're going to college, maybe not so much for you, but maybe some, and maybe some for the rest of his family to have that opportunity. Because we do have a very demanding life in the military, unlike kind of any other thing out there in the civilian world in terms of the demands and the stresses it puts on your family. So I thank all of you for letting us have Mike for 21 years. So with that, I'd like you to join me as we present Mike with a declaration.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise. Attention to orders. Citation to accompany the award of the Meritorious Service Medal, 1st Oak Leaf Cluster, to Master Sergeant Michael D. Lee. Master Sergeant Michael D. Lee distinguished himself in the performance of outstanding service to the United States in various assignments, culminating as Programs Manager, 2nd Operations Group, 2nd Bomb Wing, Barksdale Air Force Base, Louisiana. During this period, the outstanding professional skill, leadership, and ceaseless efforts of Sergeant Lee resulted in major contributions to the effectiveness and success of the 2nd Bomb Wing. He spearheaded Air Combat Command's Logistics Composite Model Operational Audit of B-52 aircraft maintenance work centers. Sergeant Lee scheduled and prepared over 50 technician interviews representing 17 Air Force specialty codes and 32 work centers. His exceptional computer knowledge and comprehensive maintenance background were essential in successfully quantifying future maintenance manpower requirements for the entire B-52H logistics community. While assigned to the 96th Bomb Squadron, Sergeant Lee was the catalyst in successfully generating all tasked bomber lines on time during the 2001 Air Combat Command Nuclear Operational Readiness Inspection. His aggressiveness in scheduling and dispatching over 250 technicians from 5 separate specialties to complete generation line actions helped the wing garner the first overall outstanding rating from the Inspector General in over 5 years. The singularly distinctive accomplishments of Sergeant Lee culminate a distinguished career in the service of his country and reflect great credit upon himself and the United States Air Force. Please remain standing. Master Sergeant Lee will now be presented with his retirement certificate. Special Order Number AC-001839, Master Sergeant Michael D. Lee, effective 31 August 2002, you are relieved from active duty, 2nd Operations Group, Barksdale Air Force Base, Louisiana. Retired effective 1 September 2002, per Air Force Instruction 36-3203, in the grade of Master Sergeant, by order of the Secretary of the Air Force. Please be seated. Sue, would you please come forward?
This is a certificate we present to the spouses, and I'd just like to read it to you. It's a very nice certificate. It's but a small token of the appreciation and the sacrifice that our family members make for all of us. But this says, Certificate of Appreciation from the United States Air Force. In grateful appreciation, the United States Air Force presents a certificate of recognition to Mary S. Lee, Sue, for the commitment and numerous contributions that made positive impacts to the nation's defense. Thank you for the support which gave strength and purpose to your spouse's service given this first day of September 2002. This is signed by the Chief of Staff of the United States Air Force, General John Jumper, and Colonel Anthony A. Imundi, the 2nd Bomb Wing Commander.
Mrs. Lee, would you care to pin on Mike's retirement pin?
I'll do this best.
We'll tack these on to you.
The flag folding ceremony is a symbolic passing of 13 truths, one for each fold of the flag. These truths represent the same religious principles upon which our country was originally founded. The canton of blue is the portion of the flag denoting honor. It contains the stars representing each state that our veterans have served in uniform. The canton field of blue dresses from left to right and is only inverted in time of distress. It is also draped as a country mourns those in uniform who have fallen in honorable service. Every evening at the ceremony of retreat, the Armed Forces of the United States lowers and folds the flag in a triangular fold. It is then kept under watch throughout the night as a tribute to our nation's honored dead. The next morning it is brought out at the ceremony of reveille and runs aloft as a symbol of our belief in the resurrection of the body. The first fold of the flag represents the symbol of life. The second fold is a symbol of belief in eternal life. The third fold is made in honor and remembrance of the person departing our ranks. We pay tribute to veterans who gave a portion of their life for the defense of their country in hopes of attaining peace throughout the world. A fold symbolizing that their sacrifice has not been in vain and shall never be forgotten. The fourth fold represents our true faith, for as American citizens trusting in God, it is to Him we turn for His divine guidance in times of peace as well as in times of war. The fifth fold is a tribute to our country, for in the words of the immortal Stephen Decatur, our country, in dealing with other countries, may she always be right, but right or wrong, she is still our country. The sixth fold is where our hearts lie, because it is with our hearts that we pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The seventh fold is to our armed forces, for through these same armed forces we protect our country and our flag against all enemies, foreign or domestic. The eighth fold is a tribute to those who have entered into the valley of the shadow of death, that they may see the light of day. The ninth fold is a tribute to womanhood, for through their faith, love, loyalty, and devotion, characters of the men and women that have made their country great have been molded. This fold is made in honor of our mothers, for whom the flag flies on Mother's Day. The 10th fold is a tribute to the fathers, for he too has given his sons and daughters in the defense of our country, ever since the first struggle for independence. The 11th fold, in the eyes of a Hebrew citizen, represents the lower portion of the seal of David and King Solomon, and glorifies in their eyes the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. The 12th fold, in the eyes of a Christian citizen, represents an emblem of eternity, and glorifies in their eyes God of the Father, God of the Son, God of the Holy Ghost. The 13th fold symbolizes the original colonies. We fold from the stripes toward the stars, for as the stripes represent the 13th original colonies that founded our republic, they are now embodied in the 50 sovereign states represented by the stars. When the flag is folded, the stars are uppermost, which reminds us of our national motto, "In God We Trust." After the flag is completely folded and tucked in, it takes on the appearance of a three-cornered hat, ever reminding us of the soldiers who served under General George Washington and the sailors who served under Captain John Paul Jones. They who have followed their comrades and shipmates in the armed forces of the United States have preserved for us the rights, privileges, and freedoms that we still enjoy today. May God continue to bless the United States of America. Now Colonel Wyborski will present Master Sergeant Lee with his retirement box, which includes the United States flag. This flag was flown over the United States Capitol on January 17, 2001, at the request of the Honorable Jim McCrary, Member of Congress. This flag was also flown in combat over Afghanistan by the 40th Air Expeditionary Wing on board B-52H aircraft 60-0037, call sign Batman 41, delivering 45 Mark 82 500-pound bombs in direct support of Operation Enduring Freedom.
For a special round of applause for our base honor guard. These are folks that do this on their off-duty time. They do this, and it's a special treat to have them here and their support for our program. So thank
you. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2nd Operations Group Chief Enlisted Manager, Chief Master Sergeant Moore.
Well, what do you give a guy for 21 years of service? That was a good start, probably. Pretty nice. Mike and I and our families go back quite a ways. Kevin is actually the same age as my son, and they played sports together, got a chance to coach and do the mom and dad things with the oranges and the drinks and all the neat stuff about kids growing up, and we got to share that together. So we have history before Mike ever went to the B-2 program and did all the great things he did there. When we had an opening come up at the group, Mike was available. It was outstanding that we could talk, and I'm pretty sure you had something to do with it, sir, that we could talk his commander into letting him come up to the group. And then the work that he did at the group while he was up there is most of the stuff that nobody in this room will ever understand, because it's all behind the scenes. It's stuff that Mike's done his whole career. He's always been that kind of guy. He's always taken care of business, taken care of the people, but the people's never really seen what he's done other than the results. So 3 years from now, when they got 20% more people to do the job they're doing and they're not working quite as hard, it'll be because of Mike. It'll be because of Mike. And what we got, Mike, is, because this is the only bomber that really counts, we got him a nice little picture of a B-52, which was actually drawn by a B-52 avionics person. Colonel, you're right, a lot of talent in the avionics career fields, and it says, Master Sergeant Michael D. Lee, April 1981 to August 2002. I should have been a Doppler troop, and I think I know that.
Got the final punch. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Ladies and gentlemen, Master Sergeant Michael D. Lee.
Oh gosh, this is crazy. I never thought I'd get here. Hopefully I can get through this. Sir, first class, I appreciate it. I appreciate everything you've done for me up at the group, the support you give me. It's just, from the time we walked in, it was a first class operation up there. You see that right from the start. And when I asked you to do this, I waited for you to come back from overseas, and about the day after you got back, I gave him 1 day, and I said, okay, I'm going to shoot the little email, because he was at home, and he came right back. I'd be honored, and the honor was mine, sir. I appreciate it. I got a lot of family here that traveled long ways, mom, dad, and my aunt and uncle from Yuma, Arizona. they were there when I graduated high school or college, and you know, they travel around, and they're my backbone. And anytime I've needed something, they're always there. And this was great having them here. I've got, well, and then my wife Sue. She's 21 years of this stuff. She just don't volunteer for any more TDYs. That's all I heard. Don't volunteer. She knew in the back of her mind that we were going, hey, we want to get over there too, you know. But don't volunteer for Afghanistan. So they didn't send me, so I you know, I guess I've got to make an exit. But anyway, Sue, I've got something for you, and I'd like you to come up. There you go. I've actually got one or two little minor things, but my son Jeffrey, I'm going to go down the row. My son Jeffrey, he's graduating high school tomorrow. He's going to that Scholars College at Louisiana Tech, and so he's off to Northwestern, and about as proud as we could be of him, keeping those grades up there and getting all that you know, that top scholarship money. He's worked really hard. Whew. So we'll live in Louisiana, but he's done well in school, and now he's off to becoming an adult. And I couldn't talk him into the Air Force, sir. But maybe there's still time after 4 years of college. Maybe he'll go fly. Kevin, son, that gosh, he's been out of the house for quite a while now and married and living in Sweetwater, Texas. He had quite a trip over here. Him and his wife Tricia, and I know they were excited to come down. And boy, it's great having them. Deanna and her husband lived here when we left the first time, and she had to work today. Her boss wouldn't let her off, and so she didn't make it. And I know she's pretty upset about that one, but wish she could have been here. I got two special friends that I just can't. Well, I got more than that, but I got two that came a long ways for this one. Chad Kilgore here in the front was here at Barksdale with me in the Avionics Maintenance Squadron. He followed me out to Edwards and worked B2 with me. And he's also from my hometown. When he came to Barksdale, I said, hey, I'll be this guy's sponsor. He's from Yuma, Arizona. You know, let's bring him in. And he's gone on to very big things in the civilian world after the B2 flight test ended out there. And Chad came down for my retirement, and it's been great seeing him. And I know he's running into some other old friends that are still here since he left, and he's seeing the old territory again. But he came from Atlanta, or just north of Marietta. And so thanks Chad for coming down. Behind him, Ken and LaDonna Henderson. They were also friends with Chad. They came from Eglin Air Force Base, Florida, and they just drove in probably an hour before the ceremony. And that's quite a trek. We go way back to Chad. We all worked together on the B2 at Edwards, and Ken was the bomb nav guy. I don't know how many bomb nav guys we got out here. Are any of you guys left? Buckberg, yeah, there you go. Hey, way in the back, JT. Yeah, he's an old bomb nabber, and we went to school together, and LaDonna went to school with us also. That's where we all kind of got together and met and graduated. And Ken became an officer. Now he's probably close to captain now, but he's doing good things out at Eglin. And thank you guys a lot. It means a lot for you guys to come out. I got one other friend that traveled a long ways, all the way from Houghton, Louisiana. Tony Daves. It's good to see you back. He recognized me. My first duty day here was his retirement, and he was up here talking and just stopped and went, well, there's Mike Lee. Hi, Mike. Right in the middle, so page it back, buddy. But anyway, this career started at Barksdale and ended at Barksdale, and that's great because the B-52s, you guys are right. That's the bomber. I 12 years in the Avionics Maintenance Squadron, or 10 years the first time, and 5 years at the B-2. That was all fluff, you know. I mean, that was just to keep me from going up north because 10 years they were looking at me. Hey, you're gonna go up there and put those mucklucks on, and why not? And there was a lot more bases. Wordsmith, KI. I can name a host of them, and believe me, my name was real high on that list. So the guys were calling from Edwards, and they tried to get me out of there before the Desert Storm hit, and we deployed. So I didn't make it that year. But as soon as I got back from Desert Shield, they took me out there, and that was a great tour. I learned a lot, and probably a lot of what I'm going into in my afterlife came out of Edwards. Like I said, I got my college degree there, and I had the best tuition program of anybody in the Air Force. Air Force paid 75%, and my parents paid the other 25%. Couldn't beat it. Books and everything. My mom was just, you take all the classes and don't worry about it. Just take them and send me the bill, and I did. and that was a good deal, and I appreciate it. And you guys, I didn't go to school right out of high school. I just took a 1 year of college and went in the Air Force. So that was good. Leaving Edwards was tough. B-2 shut down, and they drew a line in the sand and said, you all quit, stop testing. And Chad and Ken both know that was the best. I guarantee you right now, both of them guys will tell you that was the best job they ever had. We had a great group out there, and Pat. Pat Brunson too, he was sat right next to us, and Manny Starks, who left last week, there was a great job, and I said I'd never get a better job. I went out to Langley, and lo and behold, that doggone job was almost as good as Edwards. And so it's been a storybook career. You just couldn't be a bomb nav person and go through what I've gone through. And I'm sorry if I'm getting too long here, but doggone it, I waited 20 years. The maintenance stuff that I did here was always in the background, but when I left here after 10 years, I was out of the real Air Force. Totally out of the real Air Force. I was in test, and we didn't play games. Plane didn't fly. Oh well, we'll fly tomorrow. And got into the diagnostics and got into database, and Chad taught me a lot about Oracle database, and went out and did the LCOM thing, and I kept my AFSC as a bomb nav troop the whole time, but I wasn't doing bomb nav, and the LCOM was logistics composite model. Couldn't begin to explain how all that worked here, but it was so far from my career field that but there was a B-52 at Langley, and I said that I thought I was going to retire out there, and I said, that B-52, I'm retiring underneath that thing if the weather permits. We're going out there, and that's where it's at. And I got lucky enough to make master and come back to Barksdale, and Chief Moore put me in the best squadron out there. See all the heads nodding. The red team ruled. Yeah, for bomb nav troop. I'm sure the crew chiefs, it might be better over here, but that was a perfect fit. I mean, I jumped back in, feet to the fire, back in the real Air Force, and I hadn't done that for about 8 years, and it was an eye-opener. Things had changed right at the time I was leaving to this ops and LG stuff that we're going away from now, but I hadn't been into that. I'd never used cams. I mean, cams had just been coming online. That's pretty bad, but all of that stuff got thrown right back in there, and Al Smith and guys over in the specialist flight, he taught me a lot. I learned a lot real fast, and some of the other flight chiefs I see out there, we'd all get together, and it was big learning experience. Then I was able to move up to the ops group and do the manpower thing. And I'm hoping that that is going to be my stamp on the last part of this, something that's going to last. That LCOM was probably the most important thing I did in when the B2 LCOM came out. I did that up at Langley. I didn't hear the final numbers, but they got a lot more people. The B1's got 189 people when we did that up there, and they're working that LCOM right now here for Barksdale, and I know we're going to see more people out of that thing. And hopefully that'll be something down the line when that comes in about a year and a half. You can say, man, Sergeant Lee helped us out there. I don't know. We'll see. Or you guys may come after me with guns, and well, not leaving my forwarding address. But anyway, I've got one or two things I want to pass out. I thought we were going to these are just small, nothing really. Oh, and I forgot my mother-in-law Doris when I got right here. I got all the way down here and went, ooh. I know I'm forgetting a whole lot more people because I just walked back and I went, there's old Heather over here. And Heather's the airman of the quarter, month, everything else. She's I'm sorry, Sergeant Airman Kent. I'm Mr. Lee now. I can do that. But she's been super. She works around the corner from us, and she's. I appreciate her doing the proper tonight, today. Sergeant Irons, who led the honor guard team, who's still here, was one of my troops in the 96th, and I specifically asked for him to do this. Well, I didn't know all this other stuff was going on today. Guy's already been over at the wing. He was the head lead guy at the change of command. I've watched him in action in a lot of different honor guard functions, and thank you, Jason. It was an honor to have you do that for me today. Wayne Penrod, back to our office. We've got a team there that we know is coming to an end. Damn it! But I don't have a lot, but Wayne, there's a little something for you. He set this whole thing up. We got this group. It's really tight. Really tight. And Colonel Patterson's one of them. He's not here. I was glad to see some of the guys come back. They did come back from the 96th. I got a long ways into this before this started. I knew that it was going to get emotional. But the guys, they know who they are, and the good part about this thing is that a lot of people look back and go, wow, that was great back at Edwards, or that was great back at Langley. This group that we have now, we know it. We knew it going in, and we knew it the whole time we were in it. And that's what makes it hard to leave now. But it's good knowing that some of the rest of them are leaving too. So we're all kind of leaving at the same time, man. We got some new guys coming in, Jeff Buxton, and guys that are going to do great. Pat, thank you, sir. Appreciate everything you've done. But the whole thing was set up by Wayne, and he's really worked this thing from beginning to end. He raised his hand, and man, I want to do it, and I appreciate. Wayne and I go as far back as anybody in the Air Force. Right out of basic training, we became first roommates, and we've been around the Air Force, and he's been around the world a couple times, and we didn't really see each other. He was my best man when we got married 19 years ago, right here at Barksdale. That was his first time to Barksdale. I came back to Barksdale, and lo and behold, there's Wayne. I thought I got rid of him. And then I found out he had a great wife and 3 great kids, and it's awesome being back together with him. Vicki says we fight like brothers, and sometimes we do. But that's the way it goes. Our office, myself and the close office mates, Vicki and Wayne. Vicki, I've got something for you too. she's leaving, and she's leaving in a couple of weeks, but this is one of the finest senior NCOs I've ever known in the Air Force.
You gonna make me cry. Quit it.
But you are, and a lot of other people know that too. But for your new house and your, you bet. Chief Moore and Chief A Strike, I'll buy you guys a beer. These guys, we do go way back with both of them. We were in the Avionics Maintenance Squadron together, way back. In fact, Chad was back there with them too, and I came back and the Chiefs are all in place again, and it was neat. Tony Davis is one of those guys too. JT back there, man, the old bomb nav guy. He went up in the control tower, but there's a lot of other faces, John Cremines, and I don't want to name everybody, but you guys are. Every one of you guys, I thank you all for coming out. It means a whole lot to me to have you here. Got a keg of beer out back. We'll have some beers. And afterwards at about 6 o'clock this evening over at my house, we're going to bring the keg over there, and we've got some food and stuff, and open up the gate to the backyard. And well, it's the patio now that the rain's kind of drenched things, but it's real easy to find right there by the McDonald's on Barksdale Boulevard. You just go into Shade Grove, hang the first left, and park right there at Boone Florist. That's my backyard, so you guys come on over where that little snow cone shack is. Everybody knows the snow cone shack, so yeah, I'll just open up the gate, come on in and have a beer. We're gonna, and some food and stuff. We'll have a little get together with everybody. I'd love to see every one of you guys there. I gotta think, because you don't get second chances here, and I always miss somebody. Colonel Dunn. I'm sitting here, my squadron commander in the OSS. He's been great. Him and Colonel Patterson, we had the best. We just have had the best. Chief Moore's probably the top chief I've been associated with, and I haven't said that. I've had a chief in the back of my mind there for a long time, and Chief Moore didn't take long to go. There's the man. There is the man. And if you deployed with him, you probably know. Gosh, I'm done. I'm gonna stop. Thank you, guys.
Please be seated. You only thought we were done. We're not done yet. Mike sent me an invitation and said that he was going to do this, and I was wanting to come, and I was tied up with General Carlson's thing today, but I couldn't help myself, so I snuck away, and I wanted to come over and just let you know that we worked together a long time ago on some great projects.
Boy, didn't we.
And I was very happy when I got here to Barksdale to find him here, doing great things for all of us here, and he's continued to do that for his entire career. And I just wanted to stop by and wish you Godspeed, say thank you, and of course, bring you a coin on behalf of General Becky and all the men and women of the 2nd Bomb Wing for all you do here, for all you've done throughout your career. 24 years? How many? 20? 21 years? I don't know you that long. So I see you got a medal there, well deserved, and of course we didn't rehearse this, but thank you very much for your service, and Godspeed to you. All right. All right.
Wow. That's great. That's a pretty good finish. Let's all, we got a beer out back. You guys stick around. Cake and punch. OSS.
All right. The men and women of the United States Air Force are proud to have served with Master Sergeant Lee, me most especially, and we wish you success in future endeavors. Please stay to congratulate Master Sergeant Lee in the receiving line and join him for some cake and punch and beer. Please rise and remain standing for the Air Force song.
It's customary, folks, come on up and please honor our Master Sergeant Miss Lee, USAF RET.
Yes, I saw you come on the side.
Enjoy college.
Good guy.
I'll see you tonight. Drinking beer. All right. Congratulations.
Hey, somebody go tap that cake.
It can. Oh, you don't even know that drive.
Oh, hey, I know there's a jealous guy there.
Work the camera. I got to get tap. All right. I will.
Oh, man. You're next, babe. You're next. Hey, no problem, man. I don't know.
Buddha, Buddha. Congratulations.
Bye. I'm in the neighborhood.
Yeah, just right down the street.
Hey, thanks for coming. Congratulations. Back there. Yeah. Where's your pocket check? I have one of those. Congratulations. Two of them. Good, buddy. We'll be down the street. Come see us tonight. Yeah, come on have a beer.
All right.
JT. Bomb Nav, man, it's good to see you raise your hand when I said Bomb Nav. You didn't forget. All right. Thank you. Thanks for coming. Appreciate it. Hey.
Just barely made it. Good thing you made a long speech. I heard you made a long speech, or I would have did.
Thanks for everything. Hey, buddy. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you. Long time. Did you do it? Atta baby. Outstanding. That's what I want to hear. That's what I want to hear. It's good.
What you got?
Man, you got the courage. If only I could get the courage.
Where's the tap, Mike?
Chad's got the cat tap. Hey, thanks, Kevin. Hey, good to see you.
In your car or what?
Chad's got it. He's already.
He's around.
Yeah.
Take care of your dad.
Hey, Kent, did you get to say hi?
Is that who?
Huh? Colonel.
Yeah, not yet.
On Monday? You better grab him before he takes off.
Okay.
Congratulations. Great work, sir. You're an awesome team. It was a tight team, wasn't it?
It was. God, started. We all knew.
Congratulations to your family.
Thank you. Thank you. And you're.
You guys have lived life. Oh, and
I know it was good.
Michael
with everything. Yeah, it's really, I'm really privileged to come today.
Oh, hey, keep in touch.
Take care.
Good luck with
yeah.
the B2.
Oh, we'll see.
Glad to have you. Going bye-bye. My kid, sorry I couldn't come to the whole show.
Being here.
I'll tell Chuck.
Yeah, tell him. Tell Chuck.
I knew this was a big day. Mike, sorry I had to surprise you. I'm glad you had a long speech or I wouldn't have made it.
I appreciate it, sir.
Nice to meet you. Congratulations on getting out of high school. Don't let that be your last achievement, though. This is just a start.
He made honors Scholars College with, he's gonna go to American at Northwestern.
That's a great school. Well, you did good out in the civilian world, all right?
Sir,
Going to
we'll work
Houston
for
or
Exxon
what?
Mobil. Yeah.
Houston? Baytown, where?
It'll be North Houston. We're gonna live in Spring, and it looks like we'll be working part of their senior engineering team. There.
That's wonderful. You like it down there.
It's a
Except
little
it's a
business.
little hot. It's a little hot down there.
Big city.
I wasn't gonna make.
Telling her mom, we were sitting back there making faces at each other. We were making faces
I've never
Isn't
met
she
you. I
beautiful?
mean, I've heard about
and she
you.
knows it too. She's a
I've
flirt.
never had.
Big blue eyes. It's like got her daddy's hair. See, I can make this.
This isn't gonna fall out.
I will have
I
to make
know.
this comment.
Yeah, yeah. He seems
No, I have it until that hockey game. But I just
Oh, I received you guys.
You did good.
Thanks.
I was very nervous.
and that's the only thing I forgot.
Have a good shot of this.
Beer. Suited for
Well, you did good.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.